So when I'm talking, most of my talk will be around development. And whatever the experiences I'm talking about, they are all about developers' experiences. Most of my stuff, what I'm trying to explain here today, it is all about the management, but I'm not a manager. So think about a developer managing the project by himself or herself. That is the whole idea. Uh, Looks like I have to get the sharing again. Yeah.
It should
So
be. Let me stop share. Right. Okay.
right,
Go ahead.
right. Yeah. So okay, I'm back to my screen now. So if you see, I'm talking about the project management, but this project management is not from the project manager's perspective or the architect's perspective. It is a developer perspective, because I know you are all coming from colleges and the high schools. You are like a junior developer or an intern developer. You are just starting your career in software development, and I'm working as a developer. So I'm sharing my experiences as a developer to work on a project. So to work on a software project, you need a plan, and that plan can come from a project manager. But when we are working by ourselves on a software development project, we have to make our own plan. So it's a software developer's project plan. That's what I can say, right? So initial phase, when you are trying to start a new project, what are the things we have to start with? The first thing is the problem statement. What are my needs and what are my wants? So for example, I am behaving like a customer myself because I don't have a client. That's what I'm developing. So I have to define what are my needs and what are my wants, because some of the things which I don't really need, but I still want to incorporate them in my application or software or a product. So we have to define what is really required and what is really good to have. So all the good to haves go in wants. If you have time, you can do it. If you don't have time, you are going to just go with the needs. Without needs, the project is not going to be complete. Uh, the next thing, what you have to define is what are the possible solutions. So when I'm going through the whole process, I'm giving you one simple example which everyone can understand. Just think about, I'm trying to develop a software for a car dealership. So car dealership has like four shops, this like Auto Nation or some, there are so many different Coons Automobile, Dark Cars. There are so many automobile shops in our area. And think about, you are developing a software for a car dealership. So that is my problem statement. And when I'm doing this, what are the possible solutions? So one possible solution is you are going to create a product which looks like a Taco Bell or like Walmart. If you go to Walmart, you will see a screen. These days we are all doing self checkout. So in self checkout, you'll say, okay, what I'm going to buy, I'm going broccoli. To search for where is the broccoli, you have a picture of a broccoli there. You click on a broccoli. So that is one type of a solution. The other type of a solution is you are going to create a screen, and that screen is going to uh, pick up the data from users, and you are going to save that data in the computer itself. So that is simple solution number two. And if you want to go for a little complicated solution, you are going to provide a screen to a user, and user is going to enter the data in the screen, and you are going to save that information in one centralized location. Because I have multiple car dealerships. I have one dealership in Virginia, one in Maryland, one in Silver Spring, one in Alexandria, one in Sterling. So I have like 5, 6 car dealerships. All my data has to be saved in one place. If a customer comes to Sterling shop, they don't have to give their information again when they go to Alexandria. That is the central idea of saving the data in one place and using it everywhere. So these are the three different possible solutions to my problem. right? Now, what are the existing solutions? So one of the existing solution for my problem is I can save this data instead of my own server, I can save it on AWS server. So that is an existing solution. So based on what kind of a problem you are coming up with, there may be many existing solutions. For example, you are trying to read from Excel sheet and there may be some software which can read from Excel sheet. You don't have to do that. For example, you're trying to read from a PDF file. There are softwares which are available which can read from the PDF file. I don't have to write a program from zero, right? So we have to list out what are the existing solutions, existing softwares, existing tools available, which I want to leverage instead of spending a lot of time. And again, when you are coming to existing solution, there are two types of existing solutions. One is the paid solution, otherwise you have a open source or a free solution. So you have to do some kind of an analysis on existing softwares, tools, whatever they are available, then make use of them. Then we have to think about what if I'm using those existing solutions, what are the drawbacks? What about the security? If the data is being saved in some external server, whether it is safe or not. Whatever the software I am downloading or using, whether it has any bugs in it, it has any vulnerabilities in it. So we have to do those analysis. Then comes the requirement analysis. So for example, if I go back to my previous problem, car dealership, what are the requirements of the car dealership? One is the customers comes to me. I have to collect some basic information from the customer. What is the customer name, phone number, email address? If they can give the mailing address, I can send some advertisement material to their home by USPS mail. That is the minimum information I'm going to collect. If they are buying a car from me, maybe I'm going to collect their social security number. If they are applying for a loan or something, even if they are not applying for the loan, we need the social security number to register the car with the car dealership. So that is the minimum information I'm collecting from the customer. I need another place where I'm going to enter the information about all the cars. What type of car, who is the manufacturer, what is the year of manufacturing, and what is the VIN number. All those things I'm going to enter in my car database. Then if you have a spare parts department, then you have a spare parts department information. Then you have a HR department where people are working for your car dealership as a salesperson, as a mechanic. There are a lot of people, drivers, all those people. So you have a HR department where you have information about your employees, their salaries, their allowances, their sales target. Did they meet their sales target or not? All these things come under requirement analysis. And if you are trying to work on existing application which is already there with the car dealer and you are trying to make an enhancement, then you have to do some impact analysis, whether new modules what you are trying to add, they are going to have any impact on the existing software or not. If it is a new system, then you don't have to do a lot of impact analysis. You can start from zero, right? Possible technologies. So to make this software available, what kind of technologies do I need? Because if it is a simple website, for example, CNN.com, you don't need a lot of sophisticated softwares because it's a just news website. You just upload the information, upload some pictures, upload some videos. People are going to come watch, come read, and they just go away. That's it. We are not doing a lot of interaction. But when it comes to developing a full-fledged website for a dealer, you need some sophisticated softwares. To save the data, you need the database. To do some kind of a UI, you need what we call some UI tools like Angular or React or something, maybe CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Bootstrap, right? So you have to list out what are the technologies you are going to use. If it's a backend programming, maybe you have to use some programming language. It can be Python, it can be Java, it can be .NET, it can be Scala, it can be any other similar language like Node. Then to save the data in the database, you have a choice. You can use a NoSQL database or RDBMS database, relational database, right? So you have to list out what are the technologies you are going to use, and some of the solutions, as I said, maybe out of the box solutions, you just bring them in, paid versus free versions, open source versions. You can decide that. And as I said, always there is an alternative technology. Instead of using Java, you can use .NET. Instead of .NET, you can use Scala or Python or something. Similarly, React versus Angular versus Vue.js or nothing, just HTML, CSS, Ajax, jQuery, right? You can decide what technologies you want to use. And because this is all about the hackathon, in your hackathon, how many people are there in your team, what is their uh, training background, what kind of technologies they already know. So you don't have to learn new technology all of a sudden to start a project in a hackathon. But in future also, when you are trying to develop a project by yourself, just for the practice, you have to work on the project based on what technologies you already know and your teammates know about the technology. And there you might have a diverse amount of, let me go to the next development phase now, right? Yeah. So here I'm talking about the team. You have to define the team. Who are your team members? What is their training background and educational background and experience? Do they have some kind of knowledge? So for example, think about, you have four people in a team, and one person is an expert in the database side, one person is expert in UI side, there are one or two people who are working on like a middleware, like backend programming. You can have one person who can do some extensive testing to make it perfectly working. So you have to define your team and assign a role to each person based on their background, what kind of technologies they already know. Uh, Once you come up with all these things, you have to do the high level design, detailed design. Again, in the detailed design, you can say what is the need and what is the want. So you can make it like a phase one, phase two, phase three. If it's like, for example, you are working on 1 month project. So within 1 month, what we can accomplish, and if there is a time, we can include some of the wants. Otherwise, we can limit ourselves into needs. And you, if you have a senior in your team who is going to mentor you, that will be again better. But the senior must have fair understanding of your project, number one, and the technologies you are using. That is number two. Because if you have a senior and that senior is working on something technology A and you are using technology B, then senior becomes a headache for you because they are trying to pull in another direction, you are trying to go in different direction. So that's where you have to choose the seniors or mentors based on what kind of technologies you are planning to use and what kind of problem you are trying to solve. When it comes to design, I can give you simple examples here. For example, I'm trying to develop that car dealership project. You need database tables, right? To database tables to save the data of our customers, customers' addresses, customers' phone numbers. And if I am trying to collect the information like social security number, I have to do some kind of an encryption mechanism to safeguard their personal identifiable information. It's a really important information and we don't want someone to misuse it. When I'm saving in my database, it has to be saved in secure way. And similar to that, again, if I go to VIN numbers of the cars, it's again a important information which I want to encrypt and save. And to save all the car information, you need this all the cars information table. Uh, and then you have employees. For that, you have a database tables. So you have to have a proper database design to save the data. Similarly, you need to have screens. So what all information you are trying to collect from the car, about the customer, about the employee, new employee joining, existing employee leaving, all that information you need to collect from a screen, and you have to design the screen about. And to connect this front end screen and the back end database, you have to have what we call the middleware software. We call it as a back end programming, right? So those are the things come under your designing. So if it is a hackathon, you might spend like a 1 hour, half an hour time to designing. But if it is a long-term project, like 1, 2 months of a project, you might spend a day or two, maybe a couple of days, 4, 5 days to finish your designing. Because if your designing is perfect, then you can easily complete your project. Otherwise, you will be keep going back to the drawing table and find out what is the design flaw which we missed, right? Uh, as I said, you have to define your scope. You cannot do anything and everything in first round. And low level design, as I said, you have to divide the things among yourself and design everything low level, like how many modules you want to make, how many microservices. If you are doing the microservices these days, everything is microservice. So if you are trying to do the microservices, how many microservices, how many database tables, what is the relation between those tables? Are you interested to save entire data in relational model or non-relational model? You are trying to save the data in a JSON format. All those things comes under your low level design. When you are done with all these steps, now the development starts. You sit down, start working on each of your assigned task. So the person who is going to develop the database tables, they are the one who is going to start first. They are going to finish the database tables and give you some sample data. And the people who are working on the front end, they can just do some hard coded data and they start working. Then the backend programming comes and they are going to connect these two interfaces, the front end interface and the database interface. If you have some kind of a design diagram, that will be easy to understand. And if you are trying to give the demo, then you can easily explain your demo, how your architecture is laid out and what are the things you did during your design phase. You can explain, easily explain. Once the development is done, you're satisfied and you wanted to make sure that whatever the project you have completed, it works. Then you can do some basic testing in each of your laptops. If you have like 4 or 5 people working in a team, each of them is going to do some kind of a basic testing. And if they really want to deploy this software on some AWS or some cloud platform, then you deploy and do the testing there. And while once you deploy it to a cloud kind of a platform, as AWS or Google Cloud, then you can share that project to your friends and relatives. They can also do some testing. If you have any professional testers, they can also do the testing. Because you need some kind of a critical thinking in terms of testing the software. You wanted to make sure it is working fine. So from your side, the development is done. Once this development is done, the next phase is, now the developers are done, you are going to give a demo. Demo means you are trying to demonstrate your project, it works in front of your clients. But in case in our hackathon, you are going to demonstrate in front of our judges, right? So once you do the demo, if it is a real company demo, you just give the demo and get the feedback. If it's a real company or a real client, what happens is when you are done testing, you are satisfied it works, you have tried different scenarios, then you are going to show your project to the clients or the business owners. Then the business owners are going to give you some feedback. They'll say, oh, I asked for this, but it is something different, little bit deviated, I have something different requirement. You are going to accommodate some of them, and some of them you are going to make them as a phase 2 or next phase requirements. And that's how we complete our project. Then then comes the UAT, user acceptance testing. This UAT place where we give the product as if it's ready for use, but they do some kind of a testing because they wanted to make sure it is meeting the requirements of our client, because client is the one who is paying all our project money. So they do their own testing, or sometimes these clients are going to hire some third party company to do the testing, and they do testing, and our perspective is different and their perspective is different. They might find some information, some issues, some problems, some bugs. We have to fix all of those. Then it goes to production. And once it goes to production, there will be some kind of a post production support. uh, During production also there may be some problems we have to fix, we have to do some troubleshooting. So that's where it comes really critical. If our development is not good, if we have not added lot of debug statements, logging messages, then it becomes really problematic. So that's why we have to have enough amount of debug statements, logging statements, uh, some critical information we have to save. So whenever any problem comes, we can go to our logs and check what is the problem and why the problem came, and what is the solution, and what did we miss, there is any bug or something, so that we can fix it. If everything is working fine, the client comes back and say, I have all these features, I know it's working fine, but can you add another feature? For example, right now we are trying to sell only the cars, but tomorrow onwards we are planning to sell only the used cars also. We are not selling the used cars. Now I am selling the used cars, but I want to sell the rental. I want to do start the rental also. Maybe I want to sell the parts too. Instead of just doing servicing, we'll sell the parts also. So you can keep adding new modules or enhance the existing modules. Earlier, we were not collecting the user's postal address, but going forward, we are going to collect that postal address also. So you can keep adding more and more enhancements to your product or project. These are the simple things I just wanted to lay out from developers' perspective. I'm not a manager, and managers do have their own way of explaining the project lifecycle. But this is the developer's side view of a project lifecycle. And I'm done here. You can ask any questions you have, and you can email me. That is my email address, and that is my LinkedIn URL. You can message me on LinkedIn. You can email me. You can go ahead and ask questions. And if we have to stop the recording, we can stop here. You can unmute and ask or type the questions. Anything is fine. No comments, no questions. Was it useful or not? You can hear me?
Yeah, it was useful.
Okay.